Welcome to the FitMoney flipped lesson plan called Meet Your Money. Today we're going to explore all kinds of money that we use here in the United States of America. So first, let's think about this. How do we pay for the things we buy? Whether you buy from a store, over the phone, over the internet, in person, or anywhere else. Think for a minute and share with me how you think we pay for the things we buy. If you answered cash, coins, credit cards, checks, bills, or even apps on our phones, you'd be right. Money is what all of these things use. Money allows us to pay for things. So what kind of money do we use here in the United States? Some of our money is in coins, and some of our money is in bills. Let's look at the coins we use here in the United States. And I keep saying the United States because in different countries, they use different forms of money. First, in the US, we have pennies. These are the brown copper-colored coins, and they are worth 1 cent or 1/100th of a dollar. That's the smallest coin that we currently use here in the United States. The next coin that's worth the next most money is a nickel. A nickel is worth 5 cents. A nickel is smooth around the edges, a little bigger than a penny, and you can see a difference in color. Next up in value is a dime. This is worth 10 cents. These dimes have bumpy edges. They're a little bit smaller than a nickel, but they are also silver in color. Finally, we've got a quarter. A quarter is worth 25 cents. Quarters have lots of different designs on the back, but all have George Washington, a U.S. president, on the front. Quarters are the largest of the coins that we commonly use in the United States. If you have the chance to look at one of each of these in your home, feel free to try it. Next, let's talk about bills, or what we call the paper money we use here in the United States. There are lots of different kinds of bills in different amounts, but let's talk about 3 of the most common. There's the $1 bill, a $5 bill, and a $10 bill. The $1 bill is worth $1. It too has a picture of George Washington on it, and the front and back look slightly different like this. Next up is the $5 bill, which, as you would guess, is worth $5 and stars former President Abraham Lincoln. Last but not least here is the $10 bill, which is worth $10. You can see it has a picture of former President Andrew Hamilton on it, as well as several other designs. These bills allow us to carry money with not quite as much weight as the coins and carry money in larger amounts. Let's compare the two, especially if you can get your hands on an example of each of these at home. What differences do you see between the penny and the nickel? Take a minute or two to look and see if you can find 3 differences between these 2 coins. Here's a few differences that we found. A penny is made of copper and is copper colored on the outside. It's worth just 1 cent, and it's the smallest value coin we have. A nickel is made of copper inside, actually, but it's got nickel on the outside, which is colored silver. It's thicker than a penny, and it's worth a whole 5 cents. You may have also noticed that a nickel is larger around than a penny is. Let's look at the differences between a nickel and a dime, and here's where it gets tricky. Take a look and list as many differences as you can come up with. Now, let's see what you might have come up with. First, a nickel is actually bigger than a dime, but a nickel's only worth 5 cents while a dime is worth 10 cents. It's a little unlike what you would think, but it's important to remember that nickels are worth just 5 or 1 hand worth of cents, while a dime is worth 10 or 2 full hands. The nickel and dime are both silver in color. But in addition to the size and value differences, the nickel has smooth edges around the outside, while the dime has somewhat bumpy edges around the outside. Let's look at the differences between two different types of bills. Let's look at the $1 and $5 bills. Take a minute, even pause the video if you like, and spot as many differences as you can between the two bills. So, if you spotted the first major difference, the bills have different numbers on them. The numbers in the corner of a bill in our country tell us how much that bill is worth. So the $1 bill is worth $1, and the $5 bill has a number 5 because it's worth $5. You may have also noticed they have pictures of different US presidents on them. George Washington on the $1 bill and Abraham Lincoln on the $5 bill. You probably spotted another number of other differences, like maybe the colors, the designs, what's pictured on the back, or other differences between the bills. It's definitely interesting to compare bills, but since these are worth a significant amount of money, make sure you take good, careful care of them. They're not like coins that can't be broken. They can, in fact, be ripped, and you don't want to mess up any of the money that you have. So be cautious with it. Now let's compare a bill and a coin. Take a minute, pause the video if you like, and come up with as many differences as you can between this bill and this quarter. Now let's see what you might have come up with by comparison. First of all, the bill has the number of the value of that bill right on it, in this case, $10. And it's made out of what feels like paper, but interesting is actually fabric, tons of tiny, tiny little threads shredded together to feel like paper. A quarter is the largest coin we have, and it does have bumpy edges, but it's worth only 25 cents. You'd have to have 4 quarters to equal $1, or 40 quarters to be the same amount of value as this $10 bill. Now let's do a little bit of addition and comparison. Let's say you had 2 piles of money. Let's figure out which pile of money is worth more. Pause the video and figure out which pile of money is worth more. Pile A, which is 3 $10 bills, or pile B, which is 4 $1 bills. All right, let's see what the answer is. If you answered A, which is 3 $10 bills, or 10 plus 10 plus 10, which equals $30, as the most money here, that's right. Down below, we've got 4 $1 bills, or 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, which equals 4. We know that 30 is a larger number than 4, so pile A has more value. Let's try a comparison of value again. Which of these groups is worth more? A up above or B down below? If you chose B down below, you'd be correct. Group A has 5 pennies. Each penny is worth 1 cent. So 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 5. Group B down below is 2 dimes. Dimes are worth 10 cents each. So we have 10 plus 10, which equals 20. Let's do one more comparison. What about 3 pennies versus $1 bill? If you answered B, or $1 bill, you'd be correct. 3 pennies is 3 cents. $1 is 100 cents. So it is worth more money than 3 pennies. A couple more of these to try. Let's compare these two groups of money to see which is worth more. Pause the video if you need a minute to do your calculation. Here we go. Of these two groups of money, Group A is worth more. 3 $10 bills is $30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dimes is 70 cents, or 7 groups of 10 cents. Because cents are parts of a dollar, we know that this A group is much bigger. One last one to try. If you've got 10 pennies and 1 dime, which one's worth more? Take a minute if you need to pause and figure it out. Here we go. 10 pennies and 1 dime are actually equal. It was a bit of a trick question. If you have 10 pennies, each worth 1 cent, then you have 10 cents. And we know that a dime is worth 10 cents. So whether you've got 10 pennies in your pocket or 1 dime, you've got the same amount of value. If you've got a stack of coins at home, try sorting them either on your handout or into different piles matching. Be sure to look out for the silver coins like nickels, dimes, and quarters to make sure you don't mix them up. Then you can review how much they're worth and count how much value you have in front of you. If you'd like to keep playing with money, or maybe you don't have any money at home to play with, try going to bit.ly/Peter Pig Money, which will help you in Peter Pig's Money Counter, a fun game to try to continue practicing to meet your money.